Yeah, well, I was just going to say it's Mo, and his last name's Ron. Okay, that's
all right,
his
I'll
real
take
name.
that one. Yes,
okay,
I agree.
Thank you. I just had to get that in.
Okay.
But I wanted to say, I've, the last couple of days, I'll tell you, doing the business I do health insurance, and, it's funny because I even had somebody from the post office call me back. I had to go down there and pick up a package because they screwed up a delivery. And so the lady that called me, and this is what I'm doing. I'm talking now about being proactive because we've got this mentality. I'm only one person. What can I do? Well, there's one person that you work with there that started that whole thing, and look what's happened as a result of what Alex has done. Well, this woman from the post office, I just happened to mention her. I said, hey, before you go, I just want to ask you, are you concerned about the economy? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, would you like to know what's behind it? And she said, sure. And I said, okay. And I gave her InfoWars. I told her about the Obama deception. I gave her Jason Bermas and Alex Jones. Told them when you guys are on. And she goes, my husband's really into talk radio. And I said, well, if you're into talk radio, you definitely want to listen to these guys, and you definitely want to get a copy of the Obama deception. And, I'm finding this more and more, Jason. People overall are more and more open to listen because of the crisis that we're in. I've got a guy recently who is a good personal friend of mine, and this is what's really disappointing, but he's been an exception where I actually emailed a link to the article on InfoWars about Ashley, this kid, the 16-year-old kid, that was taken by DHS, 2 months ago in North Carolina.
But you got to understand, Wired just did a story bashing Alex Jones, saying it doesn't exist. Oh, he wasn't arrested under the Patriot Act. Oh, you can't fake an IP address. Give me a break. They went in the middle of the night, jackboot cops. He hasn't been able to talk to his mother since. What else could they be charging him with?
Yeah, and the thing is, but this friend emails me back. He says, well, I appreciate you sending this to me and thinking about me, but I don't adhere to these radical views, so please don't send me any more of that kind of stuff. So what I did, I took over an hour, and I gave him a ton of details because he says, I definitely don't agree with you saying that the Bush family are a crime syndicate. And I just gave him a ton of stuff that I knew, and I haven't heard back from him since, so hopefully it'll give him enough to think about. But overall, I found people are being more and more receptive to this message because they know something's up, and they can see that there's something that's going down. And I've told people, if you don't wake up very soon, we're not going to have any United States of America as we know. We're going to be under
Stephen,
total
and
police
we do have
state.
to be proactive, my friend, and I thank you for the call. Let's jump to Bob in Wisconsin. Bob, you're on the line. Yes, sir. Once, twice, Bob? All right, Junior in New York, you're on the air.
How you doing? You guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, basically, they passed through my neighborhood the other day doing the census, and I wasn't here, but my neighbor was here, and I was curious, what could these GPS coordinates be for? I know that you guys are saying SWAT teams, but really
no, not
they could
SWAT.
just
Listen, I don't want to say SWAT teams. That might be something that Alex Jones has said. And, obviously they can use GPS coordinates if they want to get to your house and you're off the grid and use SWAT against you if you're a terrorist, underlined in this DHS document. But what it is to create this massive control grid to document everybody's home. And that's why the Census Bureau is going to every single house and GPSing outside of your house 40 feet at the least. Alan, why don't you talk about that? What do you think some of the...
Can I just...
Yeah, go.
I wanted to actually ask Alan, because I know he knows. I never really... I just wanted to know if he thinks that there's any possibility that they could be using these coordinates with HARP to zap targeted houses, or, if they have certain people that they want to hit with the HARP.
Look, before Alan answers that, Alan, I want you to answer that in a second. I want you to answer that in a second, but I just want to say this. They're creating a database and a control grid so they know who to go after. I don't think it has, much to do with, we're going to GPS everybody and now we're going to use HARP weapons against them. No, they want to database everybody first, put you into different subcategories, see who the real threats are, see who the free thinkers are, and then take action from there. Alan, what's your take?
Back in the 70s, I talked to a guy who worked for the British service, the Secret Service, and he told me he had a heart attack, a young fellow, and he changed employment. He was teaching at universities, and he just mentioned one day that shortly there'll be a grid system. It's already underway. He said set up for tracking via satellite everyone's homes, and he said right now, and that was true at that time, we were all being trained to put down our postal codes, even though the postal codes were not used by the post office for another 15 years. He says we're presently training the public to always write their postal code, he says, because eventually everyone will be categorized under various codes. That's all he would say. What he really meant, I think, was political codes, etc., viewpoints, and so on. So that was part of it, and that was literally 1972.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is just an extension of the control grid, don't you? I mean, they want to get people that are off the grid. They want you to be a part of this huge control grid where they can zoom in on your house from a satellite. They know exactly where you live, who you are, and they have that data.
They have the data, and they can do flyovers too, and if they want to check out your house, they can infrared it and see what's in it and all the rest of it. There's a whole bunch of reasons they can use it. But also remember, they're always working on the future. Mm-hmm. And in the future for Agenda 21, depending on where you are and which region and area you're in, and they do have regions marked down across the U.S. and Canada, they want to get us all off over the next 16 years off the land and into the overcrowded cities. So it probably all tied together, many functions all in the one thing going on right now. And it'll be part to do with that as well. Also, remember, they're going after, the U.S. is just passing that law, putting that law through where they own all water in the United States internally. So if you happen to be on top of a nice deep well or something like that, they might just want that, or they might not let you have access to your own water. There's a whole bunch of reasons that they're doing this for. It's all data collection for every facet of your life.
Well, let's say they also pass this bill where you're not supposed to have an organic farm. It's going to be a lot easier for them once they GPS your house, realize how big it is, to just check their satellite and say, oh my God, this guy's got a victory garden. He's a terrorist. Let's go get him. I mean, it's a total surveillance, total control grid, and that's why they want that information.
Yes, and that was all part of the Star Wars. The real Star Wars program was all for the future, which is now, and what's coming up, and tracking and coordinating, etc. It's all part of it. So when they come to you personally and do it in your home, remember, even the guy who reads your electric meter punches that little GPS satellite when he punches in the meter readings. He also punches in where he is. Mm-hmm. So they've been doing this for years.
Absolutely. Let's jump to Devin in California. Devin, you're on the air. Yes.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good. We got you? Devin? You fall off? Greg from Florida, you're on the air. Greg. Man, we just can't get these phones right.
Take my call.
You got it.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Hey, I just wanted to go over a few things. I was in the U.S. military. I got out in 2004. And I'll tell you, when I went to boot camp in Arizona, South Carolina, mm-hmm. we had tons. Like probably more than half the platoon was foreigners. Mm-hmm. And our entire platoon graduated from boot camp, including one foreigner who was on light duty the entire time. He didn't do any of the runs with us, none of the hikes with us, anything. It was really sad.
All right. Well, also, Greg, why don't you hold on one second? I just want you to speak to that. Why don't you explain to people, Alan, how we are now being, our military is being integrated with NATO and foreign military forces for this new global system?
Well, under the plan for, I think it was called Fortress America, that was in the papers maybe 3 years ago, or 2005, in fact. They said that the Canadian forces, U.S., Mexican, and other Latin American countries were already amalgamating. But the second part of it all was, and you've seen this in the paper too, that not only will the whole of the Americas amalgamate, we've now to amalgamate also with the European Union community. Mm-hmm. So they're creating a new world army. That's been in the press, in the European papers. A world army, and every country will send members to be part of this world army. So this is all part of it. It's a multicultural force. I think about 15 years ago in the Council on Foreign Relations' own magazine, Foreign Affairs, they said they'd had world meetings to discuss how to create this new world army, because it was one thing, it was easier to get you to stand up for your old tribal emblems, your flag, etc., the songs and all that, and the uniforms, but how would they create a cohesive international army? And so they put whole groups of specialists on that particular problem at the Council on Foreign Relations. They're still working on it to create this integrated force. And as long as we pay them very well, as always, as Stalin said the same thing, and create the brotherhood idea that they're special, more special than the civilians, then they hope to use these techniques to bind them together into a truly international force. So it's quite right. We're going through that now. We have been for quite a few years.
Yeah, but it's really in full force right now. I mean, we're talking about, earlier today we talked about Marine Corps civilian police, and we had another military guy call in and say, yeah, a lot of my guys are getting deployed, and now it's dudes who are making $14 an hour who we hire off the street, not the MPs anymore. And that's because they are, first of all, integrating a police state here at home. They're trying to blur the lines between the military and the police. They're trying to get rid of posse comitatus, and they're getting us ready for global government and a global military force that you're going to see at the national level exercise 09 coming up at the end of July into the beginning of August, headed by FEMA, working with the UK, Australia, Canada, and Mexico in a terrorist prevention act like no one has ever seen. This is the first drill to prevent terror after terrorism occurs in another country. Let's jump to our next caller. Ann in New York, you're on the line.